Firefighters work to contain the flames of the Williams fire. The national elections shift into high gear locally, and Pasadena Police Chief Philip Sanchez joins us in studio to tell us what using force is like for officers. Some in the community protest his policies. Next on CCN Crown City News.
It's that time of year again. The 5th Annual Health Summit is being held on Saturday, September 22nd at the Jackie Robinson Center. We have many things planned to help you take control of your health destiny that include free mammograms, HIV tests, dental screenings, diabetes screenings, and much more. Pastor Lucius Smith from Friendship Baptist Church is speaking at 11 a.m. If you have health questions, we have the answers. Bring the whole family and come on out. To get more information, go to aka-elo.org.
Hello everybody, thank you for watching CCN Crown City News, your neighborhood. I'm Sehnita Joshua Mattison. Our top story, the fire that's been burning for more than a week in the mountains above Azusa and Glendora. Fire officials say they've contained about 83% of the Camp Williams fire. Firefighters say the Williams fire has charred more than 4,192 acres of dry brush and vegetation along San Gabriel Canyons and part of the Angeles National Forest. Officials say a major challenge firefighters face while battling the blaze is the steep terrain. By Thursday morning, LA County sheriffs escorted residents who had evacuated back to their home.
Going back home is a relief, especially because we got our 2 dogs and everybody, we packed up everything just real quick and left. So going home is nice.
This is probably the 5th fire, so you get kind of used to it. I'm grateful to be home though, very grateful to be home.
Captain Roland Spruill, Public Information Officer for the Los Angeles County Fire Department, says firefighters expect to contain the Williams fire completely by Thursday, September 13th. That's coming up. Well, after the station fire, many questioned why night flights weren't used to drop water to help contain the fire. Congressman Adam Schiff fought to change the Forest Service's ability to use night flights. Ultimately, a decision was made to have the Forest Service dedicate a helicopter for night flights just before the Williams fire broke. Yet, night flights were still not used to fight the Williams fire. Deputy Chief John Tripp with LA County Fire joins us live by phone to tell us the latest about this fire. Now, are you there, Deputy Chief Tripp?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great to have you here. So we were talking about the night flights. They were just authorized for the U.S. Fire Service to be able to use them, yet they still weren't used with the Williams fire. Why weren't they used?
Well, a little clarification is that the policy for using night flights existed before the station fire. It had some limitations to that, meaning there had to be an immediate threat to life or people's structures, people residents. After the station fire, the Forest Service and us entered an agreement that if any fire could become a threat to structures, an immediate threat, that we would be using night flying. We developed that policy in 2010 with the Forest Service. What was recently announced by the Forest Service is they would have their own night flying capability in 2013. So that's the clarification to the first part of your question. The second part of your question is why wasn't night flying helicopters used during the Williams fire? Mm-hmm. Night flying is extremely hazardous to pilots, and it's also hazardous to crews on the ground. Okay. Whenever we're going to drop water or retardant from a helicopter or a plane, we have to ensure that there's a firefighter on the ground that's going to make that drop effective. The first day of the Williams fire, I was out there as the Unified Incident Commander with Los Angeles County Fire Department. We met with the Forest Service. We evaluated that the fire was moving in an extremely rugged terrain wilderness where it's extremely difficult, especially at night, to put firefighters risking their lives out there on razorback ridges that if night flying helicopters were there to assist them, would we be able to provide for their safety and the pilot's safety?
But now,
we
so
were not.
excuse me, I'm just wondering, I mean, were the firefighters out there anyway, or you bring them back in at night?
We bring them, they were not out there at night. There were some in safe areas that were able to work without needing any assistance of helicopters. But our biggest evaluation, and what we've adopted is statewide, with every fire department in the state that's in wildland firefighting, this was adopted last year, is a go, no-go checklist that evaluates the risk for pilots and firefighters on the ground. When we were evaluating that the night of the 2nd, we looked at the structures that were in danger or in threat. We had put 20 fire engines with firefighters from the LA Basin to protect those structures if the fire had changed direction. It did not. It kept burning in north direction away from the structures. That's why we didn't use the helicopters that night.
But now some are saying, some critics say, and you know, former fire officials say the night is the best time to fight these fires. That, you know, with the sun going down, you know, the flames get a little bit more controlled, and it's the best way to contain the fires. Is that not an across the board? Do you judge that based on each fire?
Well, no, that statement is right. If the terrain and the fire behavior supports that, absolutely. And we'll put the biggest firefighting force with every available asset at night to do that. But when you're talking about extremely steep terrain, almost 90-degree slope, at night where a firefighter can't see his footing, he could easily fall to his death. Okay. And that was the case in the Williams fire. We did not have a large amount of firefighters out there at night during those initial couple days. Now, as the fire, as it has progressed over days, we've been bringing in, the Forest Service has brought in the DC-10, have put down large containment lines with retardant that firefighters can go in safely at night. Okay. Now they know the terrain, now they know where they're going, and they were able to build a containment line, and now I think we're up to 83%.
No, that's great to hear. Now, I'm just wondering about that area, because there hasn't been a fire in that area for decades now. And is that part of something, you know, usually those fires do help to, you know, control some of the ecosystem and germinate plants and clear the brush. Would controlled burns in that area have helped this fire not gain the traction it did?
No, actually, the fire was actually in an island of about 5,000 acres. We have had a large amount of fires since the year 2000 on the Angeles. And two fires that really assisted us in getting the containment, so this wasn't a mega fire, was the Curve fire that happened in 2002 and the Williams fire that happened in 2002. Both of those had already burnt a lot of that landscape, so the brush was only 10 years old. Once that 5,000 acre or that 4,000 acre push happened very explosively on the 2nd and on the 3rd, it hit that newer fuel, that newer vegetation. The bushes were only a certain height off the ground. So actually we were able to use prior fires to do exactly what you're saying. Now, are we continually looking at opportunities to do prescribed burning? Absolutely. And that's what we're looking for in the future, where those opportunities exist.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much, Ms. Tripp, for giving a call in and answering some of these questions that people have about the night flights. And we look forward to hoping for a containment on Thursday. That's still expected, correct?
That's the planned containment. Unfortunately, with the thunderstorms coming in the last couple days and lightning that has actually been striking right around the fire's edge, firefighters have had to be removed from that edge. But they're still planning. There has been no growth of the fire, which is very good news. But hopefully we can get the full containment. And then, as all the firefighters here in Southern California, we're all getting ready for the Santa Anas, just like all your listeners that are living in mountainous areas. They got to be clearing the brush, and they got to be prescribing to the plan of Ready, Set, Go. Okay. And that's available on all the fire department websites.
Okay, well, those are great tips, and they can get more at Ready, Set, Go, probably looking that up on the internet, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, well, thank you so much for answering those questions, and we're definitely sending you all of our best wishes for you and the firefighters in working on that tough terrain.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that was Deputy Chief of LA County Fire Department, John Tripp, on the phone that joined us. Well, now that the candidates are official, local residents on both sides gear up for the presidential race. You're watching CCN Crown City News. Your news, your neighborhood. We'll be right back.